Thanks for tuning in. My name is Lisa, and in this little space of mine, I love to share all things beauty and a little life in between. Now, in today's video, it's going to be the life in between because I'm sharing 10 micro tips that will help transform your life forever. And these are some things that I've done previously and some things that I am continuing to implement, and maybe even some things that I've struggled with implementing. However, this month and moving forward, the next quarter, I've decided to implement more of these tips in my life in an effort to transform my life myself. I feel like there's always been room for growth, especially for me, child. One thing about it, two things for sure. I'm always looking for ways to improve myself and to ultimately change and become the best me that God has created me to be, because I feel like I'm not her yet. He has created these shoes for me to fill, and for a very long time, I've been afraid to fill them. And I feel like these tips will help me to lean in and fill them, child. And the first tip is to lay your clothes out the week before. It's all in a part of being prepared. And I hate to admit it, but my mom was right. She used to get on me so much growing up, telling me to make sure I iron and I prepare my clothes. And she didn't even say the week before. She used to say like at least a night or two before, just make sure I have all my clothes laid out and ready. And it really took for me to be in my 30s, my late 30s at that, and to have children for me to realize how important this is. Making sure that you're prepared and making sure that you know what you're going to wear throughout the week and that you have everything in place and ironed helps you to ultimately show up as your best self. To be quite transparent, there have been some days where I have pulled some things out the day of, the morning of, not knowing how it's going to look, not knowing how it's going to fit on me. Child, I fluctuate and wait, or just in moments in my life where I've outgrown something and how I felt like it used to look on me, child, it don't look on me anymore. But it took for me to put it on that morning and walk out in the light, child, pass by a mirror sometimes and be like, I'm not looking my best self today. But when it's something that I have prepared and I've tried it on and I've laid it out like a kid during the first week of school, I always feel like my best self. And I ultimately feel good. And looking good ultimately helps me to feel good. And like Coach Prime says, child, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, they play good. And if you play good, child, they might pay good. And so that is all a part of just being prepared and making sure that you have a wardrobe, you have your essentials and everything laid out to help you cut time in the morning and help you ultimately know that you are going to look and feel like your best self. Yeah, I said I'm a different me. I'm transforming. I'm glowing up. Sometimes I preach things to them like, oh, prepare your clothes, get your clothes out. You know what you're wearing. And I'm not doing it myself. Child, I need to lead by example, but it's going to save me time in the morning and it's going to help me ultimately look and feel like my best self. I feel like no matter where you are in your life, this next one is something that you should be ultimately doing, and that is to auto pay your bills. Now, this is a sensitive subject now because not everybody feels or believes that they should be putting their bills on auto pay, but making sure that you have some of the most essential bills on auto pay. At the minimum, you should be putting your credit card payments, anything that affects your credit, you should be putting on auto pay. And you should be putting it on auto pay for the minimum amount due. Doing this has transformed my finances. I've ultimately ensured that anything that impacts my credit is paid and it builds my payment history with that card or with that loan. So that has been a game changer with me, and child, the way my finances look helps me to feel good as well. So place your bills on auto pay. That will transform your life because, child, credit is king. You want to make sure you are taking care of your credit. Put the minimum payment on auto pay and all of the other payments that don't necessarily impact your credit. If you're in a season in your life where it may be a little bit more challenging for you to do so, such as your utilities, your car insurance, you can always, do things. You can always use the grace period to make sure that you pay those bills. But at the minimum, child, those cards, those payments, those loans that impact your credit, put those things on auto pay. Third thing is to fix your bed every morning. This is something that I started, and it essentially, to me, it helps me to become a little bit more disciplined. It helps me to focus a lot better in life. I started, and to be honest, it's something that I started to implement earlier this year, and I've fallen back on. And so it's something that I'm going to begin to implement again. Making sure that my bed is fixed, your bed is fixed. It helps me to, number one, at least one thing is fixed and in order, and just, it just makes me feel good. Often when my space is cluttered, I don't know, it helps me to operate in it with a clear mind. It helps me to create. It helps me to go on about my day with a clear mind. And I don't know, it's just something about waking up and doing your bed or fixing your bed in the morning that makes me feel a little bit accomplished. Okay. Even if I haven't done anything else in the morning, if I've done that, I have a sense of accomplishment. And so fix your bed in the morning. Fix your bed in the morning. Another thing is to wake up early. And I'm not a 5 a.m. girly, no matter how hard I've tried. I can't seem to become a 5 a.m. girly. 5:30, 5:45, maybe even 6 o'clock. I feel like I can do 5:30, 5:45, or 6 o'clock, but I can't do 5 a.m. But with doing that, waking up a little bit more early, you definitely want to define what early is for you. But like they say, the early bird gets the worm. And it is in fact true. When you wake up a little bit earlier, especially when you're a wife and a mom, you're up before everyone else. You're able to dedicate your time to the things that you want to do, whether it's editing, content creation, whether it's journaling, or whether it's just for you to have that peace and quiet time. Child, it'd be so peace and quiet in the morning. It's peace and quiet at night, but I don't know. I really need to start taking myself to, I really need to start going to bed a little bit early. And I have been doing that. And with me doing that, it has allowed me to wake up a little earlier. It helps me to make sure that I start my morning off right. I drink the necessary 16 ounce of water that I need to drink. I don't know. And it just ultimately makes me feel good knowing that I have maybe an hour, hour and a half to myself in the morning before I wake up the kids to get them ready for school is essential. But you have to make sure that you define your early child. Leave these other people 5 a.m. morning routines, 5 a.m. productive morning routines alone. Not everybody is meant to be a 5 a.m. girly. Definitely not me. Next would be to make a top 3 list. This is something that I've learned from, and I can't remember the name of the person. Well, when I think of it, I'm going to put it here on the screen. And she has a top 3 notebook, top 3 planner. I don't have the top 3 notebook or planner, but I've been do the thing just mentally. I don't have one of her planners, but I do it mentally, and I do it with my own planner. But I identify 3 of the most important things that I make sure I get done the next day. And if I don't get anything else, those 3 important things were done that day. It helps for you to hold yourself accountable. It helps for you to, prioritize with like just time management. And at the end of the day, if you haven't gotten anything on that list done, those most important things, child, you're getting done. Okay. And so make sure you make a top 3 list. Of course, you want to make a list in general, period, but you make sure you lean heavy on your top 3 list. Next thing would be to express gratitude. Expressing gratitude will help you get out of that rut. It will help you to feel a lot better about the things or the place that you are in life, about the things that you have not yet accomplished, because just because you haven't accomplished it in your timeline, child, we're not talking about your timeline, we're talking about God's timeline. So just because we haven't accomplished it in your timeline doesn't mean that it's not going to be accomplished. Doesn't mean that you're not going to accomplish it. Doesn't mean that God is not going to force you to pivot and put you in a place that he ultimately saw you being in, which might be better than the place that you saw yourself being in. And so with that said, you have to make sure that you express gratitude and just acknowledge and be thankful for the things that you have accomplished in the space that you are in at that time. That has been a game changer for me. It changes my mood. It changes my thinking. It changes my mindset, and it helps me to kind of sort of like re-up on some energy and some to focus and hone in and go about my goals, and like helps me to ultimately attack my goals. So expressing gratitude and thinking of all of the positive things that you've done and just being thankful for where you are in life, child. Game changer, mood changer. The next thing is to time block. Time blocking is when you set aside a certain amount of time, like whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's an hour, whether it's 2 to 3 hours, for you to focus on a specific task. You turn on your do not disturb, you turn off your notifications, and you block that time out, and you put every single bit of effort into accomplishing that task. And once that block has expired, child, you move on to the next one. That is something that has helped me. I feel like I have like an issue with attention. And so if something, takes my attention away from something else, like it's kind of hard for me to jump back into what I was doing. I get sidetracked very easily. And so one thing that I've done with time blocking is I've turned off my notifications. I've turned on my focus on my iPhone, or my do not disturb. So then that way, like these text messages, these notifications from not only social media, but Target. Okay, Target will send you notifications that will have you sidetracked in an instant. Oh, you know what I mean? And so I turn off those notifications and I block that time. I feel like doing that has really helped me to be a little bit more successful when it comes to like editing or creating content in a timely manner, because my time, child, my time is limited. Okay. It's limited. So it helps me to manage my time a little better, and it helps me to, put all my effort into a specific task. That's something that I've also implemented at work. Next tip is to put things away as soon as you're done with them. And I am sorry at this. Like, this is something that I definitely am excited to work on, because I'm sorry, I'm pissed poor sorry at this. Everything has a place and every place has its thing. And so that is the framework that I want to start like operating on, just making sure that I know where everything is, because I've defined a dedicated space for it. I've already mentioned that my time is limited, and I waste so much time looking for things because I fail to put things back in their place as soon as I am done using them. And child, I really, really need to work on that. It also helps to minimize the clutter, which is something I'm horrible at as well. Child, I've been trying to become somebody who is consistently decluttering. But if I was to define or, have a specific space for things and then just put them back in their spaces as soon as I'm done, that would save me so much time and minimize the clutter in my space, which in turn would help me to become a little bit more efficient and effective when I'm performing tasks or just going on with like my everyday life. Like, the next one is to accept a compliment without giving one. And I'm going to say that again. I'm going to run that back again. Accept a compliment without giving one, or without deflecting from that compliment. Receive it wholeheartedly. And I am so guilty at this. I don't know if it's because I don't like, and it's hard for me to say, because sometimes I want some attention, but I don't always like to be the center of attention. And so I am horrible at being someone who accepts a compliment. Child, it's always me that's like, "Ooh, child, this old thing." Or, "Oh, this is old. Oh, really? You think that is cute? But no. Oh, boo. Yes. Oh, you look beautiful too." Like, no, we need to learn. Whoever's guilty at this as well, we need to learn to just accept that compliment, allow it to make us feel good about ourselves and the effort that we put into whatever it may have been, whether it's our hair, our makeup, our wardrobe, our overall look, and keep it moving. Okay. You put effort into those things for a reason. So learn how to accept that compliment and move on. I don't know why I do this, but it's definitely something that I want to change. I believe that it will help me to build my confidence in the things that I ultimately do and overall, period. Last but not least is to do something the moment you think of it. Doing something the moment you think of it ensures that you get that darn thing done. Like, just go ahead and get it done. You may have additional time, but in that moment, if you have some time, just go ahead and pay that bill, put on that load. Throw out that trash, secure that hair appointment. There have been plenty of times where I thought like, oh shoot, I need to make a hair appointment. I need to make an appointment to get my hair braided, my hair retouched. And then the moment I think of it, I don't do it. And that day turns into one day, turns into 2 days. Next thing you know, I can't even get my hair done when I wanted to because she is booked. Now, if I would have done it, if I would have made that appointment the day that I thought of it or that moment that I thought of it, I can prevent all of that. Even when it comes to like washing clothes or loads of clothes, when we think of like our day-to-day responsibility, I literally sit down here and I think, oh, I should probably wash. I got enough to wash a load of clothes. I don't do it. And then that one load turns into 2 loads, turn into 3 loads, and then it turns into me washing clothes all day, running out of energy. So I don't have time to, fold those clothes that day. And then those clothes sit and that one day turn into 2 days, that 2 days turn into 3 days. But imagine all of the things that we could accomplish, that we could get done, how we could use our time wisely and effectively if we do the things that we think of the moment that we think of them. Like, just go ahead and do them right away. Do them right away. And so that is it for this video. These are things that I will be implementing and I'm excited to implement in my life. I am ready to transform my life and become that person, that's progressive, productive, effective, and efficient person that big person, okay, that God has created me to be. I believe doing these micro tips will transform my life for the better. These are some things that I've done already previously and things that I most definitely need to do and implement in my life. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it will change my life. And if you found this helpful, let me know in the future. Come back to this video. Let me know how it has transformed your life as well. So let's go ahead and chit chat and kiki down in the comments below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these tips. If these are some things that you found interested, and if you're going to join me on this journey of just becoming the best person that I know God has created me to be. Now, if we vibe, don't forget to hit that button and subscribe, child. Join the tribe, join the community, and make sure that you never miss a beat. And until the next video, peace.